President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Friday affirmed that Egypt is committed to confronting the climate change challenge and made a global appeal to all parties to the UN's 28th Climate Change Summit to provide a full and sincere support to the United Arab Emirates to ensure that the Dubai event produces historic results. President Sisi noted that the success of international efforts for combating climate change depends on the availability of appropriate funding and facilitating access to it. The President made these remarks as he addressed the inaugural session of the 28th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Convention on Climate Change COP28, currently held in the United Arab Emirates. President Sisi said the UN event is taking place amid serious international political challenges, requiring hard work by the world's political leaderships to come up with ambitious results and accelerate the implementation of previous pledges. The President noted that in light of its presidency of COP27, Egypt believes in the necessity of an urgent collective action to handle the climate change challenge, continue development pursuits, while preserving the planet for upcoming generations. Earlier, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry handed over the presidency of COP28 to the United Arab Emirates Thursday, addressing COP28 inaugural session. Shoukry said that Egypt managed to achieve a lot during its presidency of the COP27, moving from promises to achievements and setting rules and commitments for implementation. The minister cited the establishment of the Damages and Loss Fund and adoption of damages mitigating programs as two of COP27 top achievements. The top diplomat said last year's edition of the climate conference was successful, notably as it was held amid the Ukrainian-Russian crisis, and while the world was recovering from COVID-19 pandemic, the foreign minister asserted the need to integrate developing nations in fighting climate change. Delegates from nearly 200 countries convened for the COP28 Climate Summit in Dubai, where conference host the United Arab Emirates hopes to sell the vision of a low-carbon future that includes, not shuns, fossil fuels. On the sidelines of his participation in the UN's 28th Climate Change Summit COP28 held in Dubai, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a number of meetings, including his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Here are more details.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met French President Emmanuel Macron at his residence in Dubai on the sidelines of the two leaders' participation in the COP28 summit. Presidential spokesperson Councillor Ahmed Fahmy said the head of state and his French counterpart tackled the latest developments in Gaza as they stressed the necessity to halt fighting and expand in the entry of humanitarian aid to the war-torn enclave. They also highlighted the importance of launching a political dialogue for reaching a fair and comprehensive settlement to the Palestinian cause based on the two-state solution. President Sisi reviewed Egypt's efforts for brokering a truce in Gaza and easing the delivery of aid to its people. The meeting also touched upon enhancing bilateral ties and cooperation on a number of international issues of mutual concern, particularly the climate change drive. Fahmy said President Sisi also met British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, discussing bilateral ties and resuming political consultations on different files of mutual concern in light of the deeply rooted ties binding Egypt and the United Kingdom. The two sides discussed the developments of the global climate action as well as the situation in the Gaza Strip. Sunak lauded Egypt's efforts for brokering a truce in the war-torn enclave and delivering aid to its residents with both parties, warning against the repercussions of the conflict spiraling out of control and spreading in the entire region. Upon his arrival in Dubai, the head of state also held talks with the International Monetary Fund's Executive Director, Kristalina Georgieva, as President Sisi hailed the fruitful partnership with the IMF, confirming Egypt's keenness to open broader investment opportunities for foreign investors and international institutions. The President held several other meetings, including Bahraini monarch Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, Maldives President Mohammed Meizo, European Council President Charles Michel, and Rashad Al Olaimi, head of the Yemeni Presidential Council.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Friday offered condolences to the Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman over the death of Prince Mamdouh bin Abdulaziz. President Sisi prayed to God to bless the deceased soul and wished patience and solace to the royal family. Egyptians abroad continued voting on Friday in the 2024 presidential elections. Eligible voters in 121 countries, 137 embassies and consulates are casting their ballots in the election's first round over the next 3 days before voters at home go to the polls from December 10th to 12th. 4 presidential candidates are contesting the elections, namely number 1 in the voting list is Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with the star emblem. Number 2 is Farid Zahran with the sun emblem. Number 3 is Abdel Sanad Yamama with the palm tree emblem. Number 4 is Hazem Omar with the ladder emblem. The National Election Authority's Central Operation Theater, formed to monitor the Egyptians' vote abroad, has started its work since Thursday night, coinciding with the beginning of casting ballots in New Zealand. The authority asserted holding continuous contact with Egyptian embassies and consulates abroad to follow up the voting process. Meanwhile, the Operation Theater of candidate Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's campaign also began monitoring the vote since it kicked off in New Zealand and Australia, according to their local times. To the same end, the Operation Theater of the Ministry of Migration reported a heavy voter turnout in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. Meanwhile, election campaigning continued inside Egypt with candidate Farid Zahran, chief of the Social Democratic Party, holding a conference in a town of El Minya. Zahran said his electoral program focuses on 3 key axes: the economic, social, and political ones. The candidate said he will aim at conducting a restructure to the national economy, combating corruption, providing work opportunities for youth, upgrading health and education, enhancing human rights for building a democratic state with improved public living standards. Meanwhile, candidate Hazem Omar held his 3rd electoral conference at Al Azhar Conference Center, where he discussed the most prominent problems facing citizens in Upper Egyptian Governorate and putting forward suggested solutions. And candidate Abdel Sanad Yamama will also hold his 4th electoral conference in Cairo on Friday, where he presents his electoral program and the main axis of economic and political reforms, as well as maintaining Egypt's historical right in the Nile River.